Gill Rosenberg was born in Canada and moved to Israel to join the Israeli army. In 2014, she became known as the first female foreigner to join Kurdish forces fighting ISIS.
I saw everything that was happening in Iraq and Syria. I saw, women and children being raped and tortured and mutilated and sold into sex slavery. And to me, that seemed like a genocide. And I think we as Jews, we say never again. I don't think that means just for the Jewish people, it means for anybody. And I felt like I could do something. So I saw that they had women fighting on the front lines, and I decided to join them. I crossed over the border from Israel into Jordan. From Amman, I flew directly to Erbil, and from Erbil I made contact and was picked up right away and transported to Syria. In Syria, I was fighting with other Kurdish women, so that was about 3 months out of the 9 months that I was there, and they're very strong fighters. I mean, they're just all around, just very well-rounded people. In Iraq, I was the only woman on the front line, so I had no exposure to other female fighters. There was nobody in our area that was a woman fighting. For the most part, we were holding lines. There wasn't a lot of advancements on the line. In Sinjar, we did push forward a bit. But in Bakufa and Teleskov, we were pretty much just holding a line, holding a village, and Daesh was in the next village over. And so there would be regular firefights, but it would be from a distance. And then in Syria, it was basically the same thing. It was over winter, so no one was trying to make too many advancements. It was bitterly cold, freezing, rain, muddy. My first day on the front line, a suicide bomber got within 50 feet. He ended up getting stuck in the mud and blew himself up 50 feet away instead of making it to one of our checkpoints. But so that's one of their main tactics, is to use suicide bombers as well. It's frightening because it doesn't look like they're going anywhere. It looks like they're very well organized. They're very, very well funded, and unless the West really wakes up and helps the Kurds fight against ISIS, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. It's not just the Kurds, it's also the Christian and Yazidis. The Yazidi population was really devastated in this war. They're trying to destroy any remnants of there being Christianity in the Middle East. 10 years ago there was 1.3 million Christians in Iraq, and now there's under 100,000. The Yazidi population has been almost entirely wiped out. On Sinjar Mountain especially. One of the things that really sticks out for me is driving through Sinjar Mountain after it had been retaken by the YPG and PKK and Peshmerga jointly, and seeing the lack of children. There's one age of children left there, and it's under the age of 8 and male. All the other, the girls have been taken, irrespective of age, sold into sex slavery or taken as ISIS brides, and the boys over the age of 8 have been taken as soldiers in their, as a Daesh fighter, and you notice the devastation right away, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. War always affects women and children first, and it's really hard to see. And I think a lot of people now are familiar with the Kurdish cause, but I don't think they realize that the Yazidis and Christians have suffered just as much, if not more, in this whole war. The Kurds are fighting a war that isn't just their fight. This is the world's fight. Daesh is committing crimes against humanity, and the world needs to wake up and pay attention to what's going on there. And it's shameful that we're leaving the Kurds to fight by themselves and not helping them in any way. The Kurds love Israel, they love America and Canada. Obviously they want more support. They would like more help with weapons, they would like more help with training, but they have a positive view of the West. If anything, the Kurds love Israel. They look at it as a model for what they want in a future state for themselves. They want a democracy. They're potentially could be our greatest allies in the Middle East if we could have more direct and open relations with them. I'm very proud of the Canadian government, the current government. They're standing strong against the evils in this world, whether it's Iran or ISIS. The Canadian forces have a strong presence on the field there. I think they're pulling more than their weight in terms of like the size of the Canadian military versus how much of an operation they have going on there. So I think that's something we can be very proud of as Canadians, that we're doing a lot of training and we're helping the Kurds a lot, which is a lot more than we can say for the US and other governments.
As Iranian-backed militias who were fighting ISIS became more powerful, Gill decided it was time to return home.
They're gaining a lot more influence. That's part of the reason that I left, was because I could see that in Iraq especially, the Iranians are making a lot of the advancements on the front line against ISIS. It's not necessarily Iran directly, but the Shia militias, which are basically just a proxy for the Iranian government. And I could feel the dynamics changing, and that's one of the main reasons why I decided to leave. I try not to read what's in the media, especially when I was on the ground there, because it just interferes with the job that I had to do. So I didn't pay too much attention to it. Obviously, I knew the stories of me supposedly being captured or possibly killed, and obviously those were unfounded. I'm looking to move more into the humanitarian side, to continue helping women and children in Iraq and Syria. I've been approached by several NGOs and humanitarian aid organizations, and I have to figure out exactly where I can be best used, and what will benefit people on the ground in Syria and Iraq the most.
For TheRebel.media, I'm Igal Hecht.